Hello everyone, I'm Alastair back again with another Awaken Chaos Era video. So in today's video, I'll be going over the patch notes and check out the new heroes that were introduced yesterday on the 25th of January. So let's check out the notice together. So this is the update notice, and if you scroll down, they mention these updates have already introduced two legendary heroes who are Zoltan, a light hero, and then we have also Matson, a fire affinity hero. And apart from these two legendary heroes, they also introduced three new epic heroes who are Galeno, a water affinity hero, Alastair, a light one, and Rogi, also another light one. So it'd be quite I would be quite curious to see how they revamp Rogi as a light epic hero. And apart from that, they'll be also changing the limited summon, which will be happening on the 26th of January up to 9th of February. And during that time, they will feature the hero as Matson, Galeno, as well as Tashir, and all of the light and dark legendary heroes. And I think during February time, they will also change the Void Tower rotation with a brand new rune mark. Hopefully, they remove the lightning attacks after the 7 rounds, or to allow different team composition, like using a poison team to clear some of the difficult stages, difficult flaws in the Void Tower, especially for the Void Tower heart. And they have also performed some rebalancing on the hero skills. The first one would be Ashlyn. They fixed a Ashlyn trait so that was also maybe they prevent Ashlyn from triggering when enemy heal themselves, or is it the other way? I'm not really sure because I don't really use much on Ashlyn. Then they also buff up Ashlyn's ultimate ability known as the Poker's Rain. So previously it was dealing 100% damage, now it deals extra 100% more. So now it deals 200% against bosses, which means you can use Ashlyn for like PvE content. And they also enabled the exclusive hero recall for Ashlyn as well. I think Ashlyn only, in case if you do not like these changes. And apart from that, Abaddon is another dark legendary hero. They have also improved or buffed up his trait ability. So now, instead of doing 5% damage per negative effect, now he does 10% negative, 10% more, 10% damage per negative effect. And this one has increased by, I think, 5% only for both without Ascension and with Ascension. So the before one would be 5% without Ascension and 10% with Ascension. Now they just added another 5%. So this means Abaddons will be dealing much more damage. Alright, so that's basically the overview of the update notice. So let's check out the new heroes through the index. So let's try to find where are those heroes located. Alright, I saw a new icon here. So this is Zoltan. Zoltan is a light hero, light legendary hero offense type. And he looks pretty awesome with these lightning effects. His hair is like with the lightning sparks along with his weapon. If you guys know whether this design comes from another game, do let me know down in the comments below, because this design looks really interesting. I'm not sure if it's inspired from another game or not. And yeah, let's quickly go overview the stats here. So Zoltan has an S rating for attack stats, A rating for health, speed and critical rate, and B rating for defense stats. Which means I think he's most likely a damage dealer here. But as a damage dealer, right, he has a very high speed. That is really interesting to see this type of combinations. It's like a fast damage dealer here. So if you see this kind of pattern, it could be he's a debuffer. Maybe go first and maybe crowd control the enemies, or it could be something else. So let's quickly go through Zoltan's ability, starting off with his trait known as the ThunderBlade. Gains 1 stack of Enchanted Blade for each enemy alive, capped at 4 stacks, and 1 stack of Thunder Shock for each ally slain, capped at 3 stacks. So this Enchanted Blade basically improves his defense stats by 35%. And I'm not sure whether if it's 35% per stack. And the next one would be Thunder Shock. Defense, Pierce, and Speed are increased by 30%. So it could be either 1 stack is equivalent to 10%, and 30% is the total of it. Or it could be the other way around, which is like 30% per stack, which means a total of 90% defense PS as well as 90% more speed. If that's the case, right, then this will be super overpowered. And upon ascending Zoltan, probably he requires 2 ascension because he's a legendary hero, which is quite difficult to get the same copies of him. Basically, he will gain this new ability known as the Lifesteal. Reaching max stacks grants him 50% bonus lifesteal. So in order to reach that stacks, right? Wait, let me read first. Cap 4, cap 3. Okay, so basically if he's able to get 7 stacks in combination of the Enchanted Blade for 4 plus Thundershot is 3, which is 7 stacks, then he will only able to gain this lifesteal, which is pretty conditional. And in order for this to happen, right, there should be 4 enemies alive and only him to be the sole survivor in your team. So the rest of the allies, right, will be either defeated by the enemies, leaving him stranded alone. So it could be some kind of like a bruiser like Lightning Zachary. Maybe he can be the last person in the team struggling to stay alive, and then suddenly he gets like super overpowered with this benefits like additional defense stats up to maybe 150, 105 defense if this one is per stack. It seems like he's some sort of like a defensive. It's like a mix of offensive and defensive hero for PvP content, because I don't see much usage on this for PvE content. Usually PvE content, right, you will want your heroes to stay alive as long as possible so that they'll be able to clear the run quickly. But this one is more likely for PvP content. Right, so let's move on to the next ability, which is his Thunder Swirl. It is his basic ability that deals 130% damage to one enemy and also gains 1 shield for 2 turns. The shield strength scales with the number of Enchanted Blade stacks. So as we know from the trait, right, this Enchanted Blade is based on the number of enemies alive. So the more enemies alive on the battlefield, right, the shield will be much more stronger. And the fewer the enemies there are, then the shield will be slightly less stronger. So it scales based on the number of enemies alive on the battlefield. And then let's move on to his special ability. This one is the Lightning Thrust. On each attack received, has a 55% chance to launch a counter attack to deal 130% damage to the attacker and steal 2 positive effects on them. Trigger chance scales with the number of Thundershot. So Thundershot is the opposite one, the one which is the offensive capabilities. So Thundershot is the one that provides him with the defense space as well as the speed increase. So Thundershot is based on the amount of allies which are alive at the battlefield. So the lesser the allies, I think this will increase his chances to launch a counter attack. I think this one will make more sense. So let's say assuming there are 3 allies, and each allies will provide maybe 15% chance. So as you notice here, right, by default it's 55% chance, and 100 minus 55 will be 45%. So if 45% divided by 3 allies, right, that means each ally will provide 15% additional chance. So if there are 3 allies already defeated by the enemies, I think this will improve his chances to 100% to launch a counter attack. So he's like a super bruiser, man. Something like Lightning Zachary. But he will keep on counter attacking. Basically, he just counter attack, steal the abilities like Vance, then counter attack again. So I think maybe we'll need to build him tanky so that he can survive longer and then perform his counter attack. Something like is it? Let me see. I think there's another hero, something similar to him. Let's find a girl. Where is she? I think it's something similar to Alicia, but instead of attack, right, maybe you just build him with like full HP. Full HP and some critical rate. so he can deal some damage. Zoltan just give me the vibes of like Alicia, super tanky. Okay, what else? I think, yeah. So in order to gain the additional one positive effect stolen, you need to use some mastery books. It's like quite good for PvP content. And last but not least, his ultimate ability, Sanction. Sanction is a 4-turn skill cooldown ultimate ability that deals 150% damage to one enemy and also deals 80% splash damage to all enemies. This one reminds me about Augustine. Also gains attack up version 2 as well as control immunity 2 for 2 turns if there are 4 or more stacks of enchanted blade and thunder shot combined. Okay, so if there are 4 enemies alive, right, he will instantly gain this ability as well once he performs his ultimate ability. And then if there are 7 stacks, gains attack up version 2, control immunity and 2 stacks of ability immunity. This one is like a combination of Cyrus, man. Cyrus ability, attack up, control immunity, wow. This one is really powerful, but it's quite difficult to gain 7 stacks in order to meet those conditions. Maybe he can be the last person standing and turn the tide to his favor. So there's a lot of things going on here. There's a like attack up version 2 buff that provides 50% attack, control immunity to prevent him from getting stunned or taunted, and then there's ability immunity, which grants him immunity to the next negative effect taken. Basically, any ability cast on him, right, he's just basically immune to it. Enchanted blade as well as thunder shot. So based from his skill kit, he's most likely a PvP hero. Maybe he's there to change the meta. I wonder how will you guys build him? Maybe build him with high amount of health to be the last person standing, and also some attack and critical rate and critical damage. But he only gained bonus lifesteal when there's 7 stacks. Maybe build him in dragon skill set so it can last longer and some health. Yeah, I need to test him out in order to see how he works in the arena. Because sometimes, right, the description may say like this, but it performs slightly differently to what we expect. Alright, so this is his bio. Kinda lengthy. Maybe you can read it at another time. So let's move on to the next hero from the update notice. Let's search that guy. So he's not in the Holy Light Empire. This one is Crisis. Not here. Alastair. No new heroes here. None here. Okay, so I noticed there are 2 new icons for the Titan Island. Let's check out the first one from the legendary section. So this is Matson. Wow, it looks like black and white. It reminds me of like the chess piece, the white and black chess pieces. And he looks really awesome with this fiery lava blade engulf. It's like, is he built with lava and fire? And then he's covered with these rocks that are charred. And he used a long spear, a long lava blade spear. Pretty cool. Seems like I'm not sure whether his design can relate to some kind of debuff like Ignite debuff. Let's see apply Ignite because it's all flamey. And his face is kind of small in proportion to his body. I was expecting his face would be slightly larger. And is this a shield? Yep, this one is like a mini armor to protect him. It looks like is it a squid face or kraken face? Kinda interesting to see him in the dwarf section here. Alright, so he has, let's go over So let's go over his stats here. So he has an S rating for attack, A rating for critical rate, and B rating across the health, defense, and speed. So basically, he's also a damage dealer here, but slightly lower health, defense, and speed in comparison to the first legendary hero that we saw, that we see here in the Zoltan section. So let's get over his abilities, starting off with his trait, Inferno Curse. When attacking enemies at an elemental disadvantage, increases all negative effects. Durations are done by 1 turn, 2 round cooldown. And upon ascending him, when attacking enemies with negative effect, launches a bonus attack with this basic ability. What does it mean by elemental disadvantage? Does it mean wood affinity heroes? Because he's fire, right? So enemies that are weak against fire will be wood. So means that he'll be useful for the Roaring Tulpa or the Bane Rift in the Gift versus environment. Not sure about what it means by elemental disadvantage. Or does it mean the opposite? So this one is not so clear to me. But I think it's most likely enemies who are wood affinity. After ascending him, he'll be able to launch a bonus attack with the basic ability. So let's check out what's the cool thing about his basic ability. So basically his trait, right? Increases all negative effect duration by 1 turn. So maybe we can pair him with like Abaddon to increase the duration of his random stats down. Or he could also be paired with like Scarlet, Bachelet to increase the duration of those bleeding effects. That could be one use case that we can use him for that scenario. Alright, so his basic ability is known as the Charge Sweep. Deals 165% damage to an enemy and applies increased damage taken for 2 turns. If the enemy is affected by increased damage taken, applies random stats down for 2 turns. This is really good. So it's like a mixture of like Hector or Clarence plus Abaddon. So I think he can put increased damage taken at 100% uptime with his basic ability here. And also apply random stats down, which are defense down, attack down, speed down, critical rate, critical damage, focus, and resistance down. So he's most likely a debuffer and we'll need to give him some focus stats. So he will be able to apply to the enemies without them being resisting it. Okay, so I'm quite curious on what other debuff that he can place apart from this increased damage taken and then random stats down. So his special ability is known as the Fury Spear that has a 3 turn skill cooldown, deals 195% damage to an enemy, and applies resistance down 2 and ignite for 2 turns. So this one really represents his like Fury design, character design, the ignite thing. So let's say assuming he applies the resistance down, then all of his allies that has a low focus stats can take advantage of this debuff to apply the debuff. But I think this one would be also quite useful for maybe for poison team like Gangela and Sentis. Let them go first and then wait, Gemini Dragon is dark affinity, so I don't think he'll be able to increase those debuff duration on Gemini Dragon. I wonder why the Ace developers put this one on elemental disadvantage, which limits his usability. If let's say if there's no such condition, right, then this will make him quite valuable in many areas in the game. He can be paired with a lot of debuffer heroes in different affinity enemies like water, wood, light, dark, and so forth. Okay, so this one basically applies ignite and resistance down, which could also pair well with Eren. So since he applies different or various debuff, then this will help to speed up Eren's rage meter, so he can perform another joint attack. And finally, Matson ultimate ability is known as the Lava Fury that has a 3 turn skill cooldown. Deals 220% damage to an enemy and applies Vampiric Touch as well as Ignite to them for 2 turns. Also summons the ally with the lowest health to launch a joint attack with the basic ability. It's quite interesting to see this lowest health. Usually damage dealers will be squishy, and those squishy heroes will likely to perform the joint attack. But there are 2 types of damage dealers in the game. One that just deals damage, another one is also deals damage and also apply debuff. So I think a better way to make it less random, right, is the Ace developers can just change this to the ally with the highest attack stats. Because lowest health can be quite random. Usually supported heroes will have more health compared to damage dealers, so I think this one will target damage dealers instead of supported heroes. And I noticed there's a new debuff here. It's known as the Vampiric Touch. So what does this debuff do? Attacks against this unit heal the attacker for 50% of the damage dealt. Wait, I think this one is the opposite of lifesteal, man. This one is like a unique debuff from maybe like Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends have this debuff known as Leech. So each time the person attack, right, the attacker will be able to heal themselves. So I think maybe they call this, I'm not sure whether this one is a unique debuff for Matson or it's a common debuff which is just recently introduced. Something like similar to the previous debuff like Ignite, Bleeding and so forth. If this one is a common one, right, then we can see this one in other heroes like epic heroes and legendary heroes. This will be a good addition. So this one is basically a leech ability from like Raid Shadow Legends. And this one will benefit greatly for attacker heroes who deals lots of damage. Let's say if your damage dealer deals like 10,000 damage, that is 5,000 healing, which can heal them considerably a lot. Oh, this one is really good. And it's also a 3 turn skill cooldown, which is pretty nice. So I think having Matson in the team, right, you can replace your dedicated healer with maybe another supported hero that allows you to speedrun the game. Maybe put in Shane inside, then Shane will be able to apply lots of debuff, so all of your 3 damage dealers will deal massive amount of damage without needing a supported healer. And for Shane, right, I think Shane will not be able to deal much damage, but he can heal himself through like revival set. So this will make a complete team when you're using Matson here. Well, I think Matson is much more interesting. Yeah, I think this one will be very, very interesting on how we can use him. Hopefully the Ace developers will change this condition. Alright, so based from his skill kit, he's most likely tuned for PvE content to help us to speedrun maybe the guild versus environment or the dungeons. But this one's really good. It's like a different combination of heroes like Florence with the increased damage taken, Abaddon with the random stats down. Then we have like Bachelet skills in him with the Ignite, resistance down for Viola, and then Vampiric Touch. It's like healing. It's like, wow, the legendary hero is getting better and better now, having multitudes of skills. Let's check out his bio. So he does not have any bio yet. Alright, so let's move on to the 3 new epic heroes. The 2 legendary heroes are very, very interesting. Hopefully the epic heroes are the same as well. And yeah, I saw one epic hero here. Let's check him out. So Alastair is also from the Titan Island. Let's see. He does not have any character animation. He's just like smiling with his teeth wide open. With his mouth wide open here. So he wields some kind of like a hammer that has like a ball face. A ball shaped face metal hammer. And he has also another boar with horns on his chest there, along with a shield behind him. Kind of interesting design. Overall, very sturdy build with lots of armor. Okay, so he's an epic control hero. So I'm not sure whether he perform any like stun, taunt, or freeze because he's currently in the Titan Essence. Probably he can freeze the enemies. And let's check out his stats here. So he has an A rating for attack and critical rate, B rating for health, and C rating for defense and speed. Let's check out his abilities. So I think this one is, I'm not sure whether he can. But B rating for health and C rating for defense. So he's most likely not a taunter hero, the one that taunts the enemies to attack him. He's most likely the person who stuns or freezes. Let's check out his first ability, the Dual Blast trait. Alastair gains 1 rage at the start of the turn, capped at 4 rage, and consumes 1 rage on each ability cast to launch a bonus attack, with the same ability on 1 random enemy. Okay, so basically it means that he can duplicate his attack, but that same attack, right, could go to a random enemy rather than the same enemy. But I think this will not be the case if there's only 1 enemy alive on the battlefield. Maybe like bosses, then he can launch 2 abilities on the same target. But I'm not sure why they put this restriction on the cap at 4 rage. Because, right, see, he gains 1 rage at the start of turn, then he instantly consumes that rage. So it means that he will always have 0 rage at the start and end of his turn. So I'm not sure why they put this cap 4 rage, unless you are pairing Alastair with heroes that can provide him with bonus turn, like Evelyn First Dawn. Then he will be able to, but still, it does not even increase his rage up to 4, because he will instantly consumes it after gaining it. I'm not sure why they do like this. Maybe there's a reason behind. Maybe one of his skills will provide him with extra turn. Alright, so let's see his Ascension effect. So at the start of a round, he gains 1 bonus turn at the end of the round, 3 round cooldown. Okay. So every 3 rounds he gains a bonus turn. But still, it doesn't make sense to have this cap at 4 rage, because he will instantly consume after gaining it. So he can, I think it would be quite good to maybe constantly crowd control the enemies. Let's check out his basic ability, Leaping Thump. Deals 90% damage to one enemy and removes 1 positive effect on them. Wow, this one would be good for the Lord of the Holy Light, as well as the Queen of Tides, to remove the positive effect from them. But then you need to build them quite fast to go before the boss. Next is his passive ability that has a 3 turn skill cooldown, Furious Throw. At the end of an enemy's turn, deals 160% damage to the enemy acting next, applies stun to them for 1 turn, and removes 1 positive effect on them, which has a 3 round cooldown. Okay. So maybe this one is to target supported heroes. Usually supported heroes in the arena will be really fast. What they'll do is maybe they'll use Wind Strikes, cast the speed up buff. Then once they end their turn, right, that Wind Strikes will get stunned by Alastair. And also remove that maybe the attack up buff or their speed up buff. So this one is mostly to counter fast heroes. Not sure how this synergizes with other skills here. This one only targets maybe fast supporter heroes. Or it could be also used against, let's say if the arena, the enemies does not have any speed up, supporter hero that can provide speed up buff, they could intentionally make their damage dealer really fast, maybe at 200 to 230 speed, and this one maybe can stun them. But this one would not work really well on one of the epic hero that can cleanse the debuff. Yeah, I think this one would not work on this guy. Yeah, it would not work on Andre, because Andre can think he's able to cleanse away that debuff. Andre Gem Splash removes all negative effect at the start of the turn and restores health equals to the remaining shield. So I think it will not work for Andre. Okay, let's head over back to the index. Accidentally. Oh. So it will depend on what enemies you are facing in order to take advantage of this stun mechanic. And so far we only have seen only one stun ability here. Let's check out his ultimate ability to see does it perform any crowd control. Savage Impact. Deals 110% damage to one enemy. Each cast of this ability increases its damage by 100% until the end of the round. Okay, so this basically deals damage. Nothing much we can see here. So let's say assuming he performs Savage Impact to an enemy at 110% damage, the next one will be 210% damage on a random ability, because this one was synergized with the Dual Blast, as you see here. Each ability cast to launch a bonus attack with the same ability. So this one will be 110% damage on the primary target, and then on the random target it will be 210% damage. He doesn't have any AoE attack, so most likely Rebel set will not work really well for him. I wonder what sets to use on him. It's most of a single target damage dealer, remove positive effect and also stun. Not sure where we can use him for now, but most likely for arena only. And if you do not have any heroes that can strip away positive effect, then maybe you can use him as a placeholder hero. Do let me know in the comments below if you see if he has any specific use case. But this one is not so interesting in comparison to the legendary heroes. This one, I think, if this one synergizes, if his basic ability synergizes with his trait, basically he can remove 2 positive effects from the enemy. I wonder if this one will proc twice using his trait. I think only trigger once, because he has a 3-round cooldown. So this guy does not have any bio as for now. So let's see what the Ace developers recommend. So he is recommended to have Assassin set. Okay. Because he can perform another attack using his trait. Guard set will also work well, but Rebel set? I think Rebel set makes sense because his trait will allow him to perform a bonus attack. But I wonder if Curse set will work well for him. Let's say if Curse set allows him to perform Leaping Palm, would that trigger his trait again? Most likely not. But the advantage here is, in order to maximize his attacks, right, you need to ascend him. Most probably 2 or 5 ascension for his bonus turn. So based from his skill kit, is most likely a PvP hero, similar to Zoltan. Is it Zoltan? Let's check out his name again. Oh, sorry, not Zoltan, Zoltan. Zoltan, Matson, and then Alastair. Alright, so that's the 3rd hero that I've covered. I think there's 2 more heroes. And let's search for those heroes. So the 2 new heroes is not under free cities. Okay, so those 2 new epic heroes are located in the Dragon Scale Marsh. Let's proceed with the first one. Wow, so Galeno is looking pretty scary. He looks like an alien, man. With this 5 floating totem. Is it totem? That has some sparks around it. He's more like a humanoid form rather than like lizard or dragon. I wonder why they put him here. Does it have any dragon design to it? Right, so let's check out his abilities, his stats here. So he has an A rating for speed and health. Then B rating across the attack, defense, and critical rate. And his speed is almost same as Zoltan, quite fast. Alright, so let's go over Galeno's abilities, starting with his trait, known as the Primal Ritual. When a team member's speed is reduced, gains 1 bonus turn, 2 round cooldown, and upon ascending him, when an enemy's speed is increased, or a team member's speed is reduced, gains 1 bonus turn, 2 round cooldown. So this one I think is most likely used for Arena to counter Windstreak's team that applies the speed up buff, or can also be used to counter Alia. Alia is like the version 2 of Windstreaks, who can apply the speed up buff to her allies as well as the AoE speed down on your heroes. And apart from that, I think this one also will be used to counter Tashir, where Tashir will be able to... Is it Tashir? Because I remember Tashir is the one that can boost up her allies' speed whenever your heroes perform a AoE buff on the team. So basically this one will cut in the opponent team regardless of their speed if they meet these requirements. So I think for his Ascension, most likely this will require maybe Ascension 5 for new epic heroes. Alright, so his first ability is known as the Nether Charm. Deals 130% damage to one enemy and applies critical rate down to them for 2 turns. This one is mostly to reduce the damage output for the damage dealers, especially the one that can deal a critical rate. But this one would not work against Alicia, since she does not need a critical rate for her damage. And then we have this special ability, Doom Descent, which is a 3-turn skill cooldown, deals 180% damage to one enemy, and also removes 2 positive effects on them and applies 3 stacks of block to the ally with the highest attack. So this one is basically to protect your squishy heroes with this block buff. This one is something similar to Craze Uzak, a block buff that reduces the damage taken by 50%. Each stack on this character removes 1 block. And then finally, his Silent Rearm, his ultimate ability that has a 4-turn skill cooldown, deals 150% damage to all enemies and applies to the primary target for 2 turns and silence to the rest of the enemies for 1 turn. So basically this one is an AoE silence. And this is really good against a fast speed nuke team. Also applies attack down to the enemy with the highest attack for 2 turns. So basically this one will basically disrupt fast opponents that relies heavily on speed. And this one will be really good against team that highly dependent on their supported hero to boost up speed. So if the opponent uses the speed heroes, then you can use Galeno to counter them, or maybe for 3 vs 3 arena or the traditional arena. For the real-time arena, maybe the enemy who is using supported hero that does the speed up and speed down, right? Most likely they will ban Galeno. And you need to use another hero as an alternative to counter those speed nuking team. So based from his skill kit, he's most likely used as a PvP hero based from his trait that synergizes with his ultimate ability that applies the silence. Yeah, so they have introduced around about 3 PvP heroes as for now. Zoltan, Galeno, and Alastair. And let's check out the final hero. Oh, this guy has a long bio as well. You can read it later on. And the last hero in this video will be Tucker. Oh, Rogi become Tucker. So this one is a reskin of Rogi, who is an elite hero. And basically they just changed his colors. The colors doesn't really look nice on this character. It's all like golden. Doesn't feel right with this team. Hopefully, and he's... Why is he wearing these green gems, emerald gems with gold gold armor. It's really weird. Kinda maybe not that great reskin. Hopefully the Ace developers would just do a more better job on this reskin. Right, so let's check out the Tucker stats. He has an A rating for health and defense, B rating for attack, and C rating for speed and critical rate. And he seems more like a offensive hero, but he has very slow speed and critical rate. Most likely he will deal damage based either based from his health or defense, like Rogi. So let's check out his abilities to see if it's the case. So his trait is known as the Tortoise Spirit. At the start of the round, gains 1 random stats up for 2 turns, and this one has a 2-round cooldown. And upon ascending him, he will also remove 1 negative effect on him. Okay. So each round, right, he'll be able to remove the negative effect and also gain random stats up. This random stats up will be defense up, resistance up, and also critical resistance up. So enemies will have a tough time to take on him. But the previous Rogi, right? The previous Rogi trait allows him to perform counter attack with true damage based on his health. This one is more of a defensive side rather than an offensive side. So this one is like a self-cleansing and buffing himself. Let's check out his basic ability. Heavy Slash. Deals 130% damage to one enemy and recover 5% of his max health. Okay, this one is good. Recover 5% of his max health. So this one is just basically self-healing, and there's no crowd control on his basic ability, so I think most likely you do not need to be focused on him. I'm not sure whether his other skills would do any crowd control or not, like the elite Rogi. And then for his special ability, Taunting Thrust, which has a 2-turn skill cooldown, deals 180% damage to one enemy and applies taunt to them for 1 turn. So this one is a guaranteed taunt rather than the RNG taunt from the regular Rogi. So this one is okay. So every 2 turns you'll be able to taunt the enemy to attack him. But let's say if he taunts them, right, his trait will not be able to do any reflect damage at all. Does he retain any reflect damage? Let's check out his ultimate. The Taunt Armor is ultimate skill which has a 5-turn skill cooldown, deals 220% damage to one enemy, and gains damage reflection for 3 turns. Okay. So basically this damage reflection reflects the damage to the attacker each time this unit is attacked. Damage scales with this unit's max health. Wait, what? It doesn't make sense. Does it mean that it reflects a portion of the enemy's damage, and also on top of that it improves that damage based on his max health? I'm not sure how does this work out together. Reflect the damage to the enemy at 100%? Or a portion of the damage. I think this one is based on the amount of health this guy have. Let's say if this Tucker has 10,000 health, would that mean that the damage reflected will be kept at 10,000? Is that the case? And would the damage reflection still work if Tucker gets killed in the process of reflecting the damage? We'll need to test this out to see how would this work. Yeah, this one doesn't really describe well what it means by this. Maybe it's kept towards the total max health of this Tucker. Yeah, I think that would be the case. If let's say the damage dealt to Tucker would be within his max health, then that would be the damage dealt at max. But it doesn't really synergize with his trait because defense up will reduce the damage taken, and with the reduced damage, the damage will be the damage will be lessened. The damage reflection will be lesser, unless this damage reflection does not take in consideration of the damage reduced by his defenses yet. So we need to test this out to see how this works. And this ultimate ability has a very long skill cooldown. So most likely he's not used. I think most likely he's just like a PvP hero as well. He has a Taunt ability, damage reflection, and self-healing. It'll be quite interesting. Not sure where we can use him as of now. Let's see what the developers recommend. Terra set, guard set, divine set. The divine set would be good because it allows him to counter attack and heal himself by 5%. I think we can also use revival set on him so he can self-heal upon taking his turn. Because there's a chance that revival set will be also quite good. Divine set is kind of random. The lesser enemies that is attacking him, right, he'll not be able to benefit from divine set. Where let's say if he's going against the Queen of Tides, there's a lot of attacks, then divine set would be useful. But I think revival set would be much more suitable for speedrunning like dungeons. I mean clearing dungeons and not speedrunning them. Revival set and Terra set would be good for PvE content. For arena, like PvP, should be divine and guard set. These two together. So far there's no one has rated him yet. Maybe no one obtained Tucker at this point of this video recording. Okay, Tucker does not have any bio as of now. So based from his skill kit, most likely he's used like something similar to how the regular Rogi is being used, maybe for like Queen of Tides. But this one is a light hero, so he could be used in different parts of the game. Alright, so that's basically it of me covering these 5 heroes. Do let me know down in the comments below which hero that piques your interest the most. Is it Zoltan, the lightning guy, or is it Matson, the lava guy that can increase the debuff duration and apply tons of debuff, or is it any of those 3 epic heroes who are Alastair, Galeno, or Tucker? I think Galeno would be quite an interesting counter to the speed meta in the arena. So if you guys don't have any Winstrax or Tashir or Halia, then you can use Galeno to counter against this speed team. Right, so if you enjoyed this video content, do give this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, you can click on the subscribe button as well as ring the notification bell to stay up to date whenever I upload a new video on this channel. And yeah, if you have any questions, just leave them below, or if you have any comments regarding on these 5 new heroes, you can comment down below as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!